We're getting a bit more quiet again here.
Yep.
People left the coffee corner. Same question for you. Who are you and what are you doing here?
Hi. Okay. So I'm Jamie Coleman. I'm a developer advocate Sonotype. Originally, I started my career at IBM, worked on JVMs, worked on WebSpheres. Most people will probably know here. And today I'm here to talk about Maven Central. So Sonotype, we run Maven Central for the community. We have done for the past 10 years. So part of my job is to go around and make people aware of what we're doing to increase security and help developers make better choices when they are downloading open source dependencies.
So, security in Java libraries?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, today we're consuming open source on a huge scale. If we go back, say, 20, 30 years, most of the applications we wrote ourselves. Whereas nowadays, 90% of our applications are borrowed code from someone else. We're downloading that code, which is amazing. I mean, it helps us focus on innovation rather than, having to rewrite things that already exist or people have wrote before. But there comes problems with that because the bad people, the bad actors of the world, they're now targeting these open source projects to try and get vulnerabilities, malware inside. So what we're trying to do at Sonotype and with Maven Central is give developers better insight, I would say, into what they're downloading to help them make better choices.
I know I just uploaded a new version of a library a few days ago.
Yep.
I got the reports
Yep.
immediately from Sonotype
Awesome.
that there was nothing found.
Yeah, okay.
What is it checking?
So we do lots of different things. So firstly, everything that goes into Maven Central is scanned by our enterprise scanners. So what happens, first of all, is it'll get scanned. AI and machine learning will do some scanning. And then if we're not sure, it will go to our security research team. So we have a very big security research team whose job essentially is every day to go through line by line of code to make sure there's not anything bad in there. So what we're trying to do is provide people with kind of, if you're uploading something, kind of reports on the health of your project. Do we see any vulnerabilities, any bad patterns there to try and make your open source project more robust and generally score a little bit higher. I mean, OpenSSF have created scorecards and things like that. So we want to inform people that are creating these open source projects and maintaining them, how to better maintain them to get those better scores. So developers can make better decisions and say, yes, I trust this open source project and I believe it'll be right it's not going to contain lots of vulnerabilities. And even if it does have a vulnerability, I have trust that they'll fix that project so that vulnerability later.
It's amazing that all this stuff is free.
Yeah.
So I create a library whenever I want. This is my pet project.
Yeah.
I upload it. So for the rest of the lifetime, you are keeping a copy of it.
Yes. Yep.
So you are storing it somewhere.
Yep. AWS generally.
Not you, the company.
Yeah.
Who's paying for this?
We do. So it's something we have run for the community from the beginning. So my boss, Brian Fox, he was one of the original Maven contributors, and he kind of one of the main people that set up Maven Central. Now, at the beginning, it was running in a computer underneath his desk, which was fine. But as it's grown and it's grown more, obviously that's no longer feasible. So we run it on the cloud these days, but open source consumption is growing exponentially to the point, I think this year alone, or the first 7 months of this year, we had something like, it was 500 million or 500 billion downloads from Maven Central, whereas we only just hit 2 trillion downloads in total, I think, last year. So as you can see, we've already hit a quarter of that this year alone. So it's growing, and of course the cost is getting bigger, but it's just something we do for Sonotype, just for the community, basically.
But how do you make money out of this?
Well, we don't. So Sonotype makes money. Again, we're in the security software supply chain business. So we have a suite of products that will scan your dependencies to make sure they haven't got vulnerabilities, give you insight into what versions you should move to. And of course, Sonotype started its life off as a repository. We were the first ever artifact repository in the world. So that was Nexus Repo. And so we make our money off our different other projects, but some of that money goes back into Maven Central, and, to help the community, essentially.
But actually, I think that's a profit in both sides because you have all the dependencies, you know what's happening.
Yes.
You know when security issues are happening there.
Yes, of course. So, for Log4j, for example, that we're all aware of, I mean, we were the first companies to pick that up because we know And the great thing is, because we run Maven Central, we have all this data and these insights, so we can see exactly what countries are downloading, what versions. I think today, when I checked this morning, and the problem is with us as developers, we're quite slow to react. So I think even this morning, I looked at in the last 24 hours, 22% of Log4j downloads were still that vulnerable version as of this morning.
Yeah.
I think in total, it's getting to something like 250 million now downloads of that vulnerable version. And that's because humans, we tend to react to things rather than be proactive. So I think, yeah, it's just one of those things that, we're in the business of trying to help people make the right decisions, but we're also not in the business of taking down dependencies and things like that.
I once uploaded the wrong dependency. I did something wrong.
Yeah.
You don't remove it.
No.
It's there forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people rely on Maven Central in their build automation and things like that. And the problem is, a lot of the vulnerabilities in Java are mistakes. They're not malicious things that go in. Whereas if you look at Node and Python, they don't have the same kind of domain space protection. You don't have to own the domain to put stuff up there. So they're full of malware, full of bad things that have gone up there. Whereas we have that first check, a decision that was made at the beginning to basically limit you have to own the domain. So that first amount of protection is there essentially, and that's kind of what's helped us.
Yeah, there are a lot of articles about how easy it is to slip something into a JavaScript dependency. They are true.
Yeah, of course. And then, if you ever run npm install or something like that, you're essentially running that malware straight away. Whereas at least with Java, we have to hit that line of code before that malware or that vulnerability is activated. So we have a few more protections. But Sonatype don't just do Java, they monitor all the different ecosystems. We're just quite lucky in Java that we've been protected for quite a long time because of the decisions that were made at the beginning. So.
And then removing that vulnerable Log4j, you said it.
Yeah, again,
you would break everything from companies that still rely on it.
22%, apparently,
22%.
from as of this morning.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So, again, even though there's a vulnerability in that version of Log4j, you might not be using that functionality that calls that vulnerability. So we don't make our decision to say what is and what should go up there. The only thing we will always remove is malware. We will never first of all, malware doesn't get up there, but if it ever did, that's the only thing we'll ever remove because that is maliciously put there to do bad harm.
So if I want you to remove my wrong library, I have to tell you there's malware in there.
Yes, and then we'll scan it, realize there's no malware in there, and unfortunately it will stay there anyway.
Okay, thanks. That's great information about how this whole system works, because it is there for everyone, but maybe we just don't realize that there's a company behind it, managing it and paying for it. Thanks for doing that for the community.
No problem.
And thanks for sharing that message.
No problem. And we're very good. We like putting articles on Foojay as well. We do have a series of articles about software bill of materials and some of the things that are happening in the industry around open source software. So I'd advise anyone to go check them out on Foojay.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Brilliant. No problem. Thank you.